recording too.
Wonderful.
Hello, Paula.
Hello, gorgeous. How are you?
How are you? I am wonderful.
Me too. Happy to be here.
Yes, me too. And we are talking today about a mega 3-part series. I'm so excited.
Yes. Yeah, me too. So one of the conversations that Marguerite and I have been having today, not just today, but always, is about divorceless relationships.
Yes, divorceless relationships.
And one of the things that I always get asked when I start talking about this is people are like, what does that mean? And they think that it means they immediately go to like their relationship with their partner, and making a relationship so perfect that it's absolutely unbreakable.
Yes.
And what's funny is, what if that actually has nothing to do with relationships that work?
Exactly.
What if the divorceless relationship is you not divorcing from you in any of the relationships that you're in?
Oh, and this is a real big topic, not to do with what, as Simone said, in a class, who are you thinking of when you are choosing?
Yes. So true. And the thing about that's interesting is that when she asked, the first time I heard her ask that question, me was not the first answer.
No, me too.
And that's actually the perfect question to look at for whether or not you're divorcing you in your relationships. And it's funny, I've been looking at this so much lately of like knowing the value of you and really acknowledging it, not from like resistance or from separation, but from the information that when you're willing to value you and when you're willing to not give up any part of you, all of your relationships get greater. Whether it's with your lovers, whether it's with your business associates, your friends, your family, your body.
Do you mean maybe also the parts that you don't like on yourself also?
All could be. It could be. Yeah, and that's what's really cool is that anywhere that you're divorcing yourself from you or not truly valuing you is where you're judging yourself. And judgment never creates greater. Nope. Ever in the history of ever.
The history of ever. To all universes.
Yes, forever and ever, amen. And so that's the thing that's really cool with this divorceless relationships conversation, is that the minute you're willing to like take that judgment, put it in a trash can, put it on a shelf, even for just a few minutes, maybe you want to keep your judgment just in case, right? Just put it on the shelf for a minute. And where can you actually have gratitude for you? And where can you acknowledge the value of you? And from that space, you can have all of you in all of your relationships. And wait, there's more. When you're willing to choose for you and include you in every choice, it's an invitation for everyone else to choose that and even greater.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's an invitation. Oh.
It's so true. And, it's funny. So I've been playing with the tools of access consciousness for probably 6 or 7 years. And, what's interesting is I was like the queen of wrongness. Like I was literally I probably invented it. Like the sense of like, I'm not good enough. I don't measure up. I'm wrong. I make bad choices, like whatever that is. Right. So I was constantly judging myself. And
good humanoid.
Yeah, good humanoid, right? And I had some really, really incredible people in my life. Sarah Grandinetti, if you guys know her, like she was one who she has like been one of my dearest and closest friends for years. And she invited me to a level of vulnerability and intimacy in our friendship that actually allowed me to really start looking at this place where I was separating. What I thought I was doing was separating from other people, but what was actually occurring is I was separating from me. So that wrongness and that judgment was actually excluding me from my greatness and from
greatness, exactly.
from the value that I am, and the beauty and the infiniteness that I just am.
Yeah.
And so I think it's one of those things, like when you're willing to look at the value of you, everything changes. And we live in a world very much that is like, there is a right and there is a wrong, and there is a good and there is a bad. And so we're constantly like stuck in this polarity of like, if you're not this, then you're not, then you're this. And if you're not here, then you're there. And this thing about like getting the value of you and not divorcing you is an invitation for you to include all of it.
Yeah, I love this.
And to really acknowledge that like your greatness isn't something that you have to like put on, or something that you have to like gather up piece by piece.
I'll put the makeup on so that they're great.
Yeah, right. First you got the lipstick, and then you got the the whatever. It's not this thing that you put on piece by piece. It's actually the other side of that, where what you have to look at is the places where you've bought the lie that you're wrong, where you've bought the lie that you don't have value, where you've bought the lie that you are a judgeable offense, and using the tools of access consciousness and choosing to see the greatness of you. It's almost like you're slowly peeling off these pieces that aren't even you.
Like masks. Yeah.
Yes, the mask. Yes, the mask comes off. And it's funny, the mask comes off, and then like your brilliance shines, and your life gets greater, and also everyone else's lives around you and all of your relationships get greater as well. And it's funny, I was just in Italy for the last couple of weeks, and in Florence, there's like a ton of stuff around Michelangelo's David. And so I because I'm a nerd, I went in and I like started reading about David and a little bit about Michelangelo. And one of the things that Michelangelo said when they asked him, like, how do you shape these things out of marble, right? Like he has this big marble slab, and then he creates something beautiful like the David, right? Which is an iconic statue. If you don't know what it is, sorry, Google it. So, and what he actually said is, he's like, I don't actually create anything. What I do is I unveil the beauty that is already there.
Oh, yes.
And it's funny because I think so often in this world, we're trained to be like, I have to fix this thing. I need to change this thing. I need to, whatever, like it's always about tweaking it. But what Michelangelo said in that really stuck with me is that it's actually that willingness to just like chip away at the parts that aren't you and let them go. And that is when your beauty is revealed. That's when your brilliance is revealed. That's when the magic that you truly are, it's already in there. It's already all the magic. You just got to pull away all the stuff that's not you. And that is the beauty of this conversation around divorceless relationships. And that's why I'm so excited for this series, is to look at those places where, even like I said, 6 or 7 years sorry, let me finish my sentence. Like to look at the places where like you still maybe just got a little bit of something that's not quite you, that you could chip away to have your brilliance shine even more brightly. And like I said, I've been using these tools, for the last 6 or 7 years, and my life has changed dynamically. All of my relationships have changed. My relationship with me, my relationship with my body, like my willingness to show up, and my life keeps getting greater. And also, this is just the beginning.
Yes.
Like I'm not yet the David in full form, right? Like so no, whether you are brand new to the tools of access consciousness and are looking for, a way to get out of the wrongness of you, or whether you've been using these tools like us, Marguerite, for ages.
Yeah,
and
me since nearly 10 years.
Amazing. But yeah, and don't you feel like that, like, as great as your life has gotten, it's still just the beginning, and there's so much more that's like available.
The tip of the iceberg is still.
Yes.
Yeah,
totally. And so I think that's the thing that's so cool, is that you can, even if it's one tool, right? Like, okay, so even if the question was like, what if everything I thought was wrong about me is actually my strength and my superpower? Mm-hmm. So that one question, you can ask it when you're steeped in your wrongness. You can ask it when you're maybe like, I don't know, maybe I'm not terrible. And you can ask that question and unveil even more of you. Or even when you're like, holy cow, my life is amazing and I'm doing great. And you can still say, okay, cool. Where am I still looking at where I'm wrong? Like, where am I still judging myself? And what else is possible here? So it's so cool when you look at this like consciousness thing, because it doesn't matter where you're at in your life. It doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, how much money you don't have, like whatever your job is, you still can be more of you. And you being you is an infinite gift to the world and an endless invitation for everyone else to choose greater and to have more and be more.
Yeah, there's lots of, for maybe a little example, there's lots of people who went to my foundation classes. They are now CFs.
Yeah.
So they're like, what are you doing? Wow.
Yeah. And that's, it's funny. I talked to my friend, Sarah Grandinetti, and so she introduced me to the tools of Access Consciousness. Her brother's Dane here, who's one of the co-creators of Access. And it's so funny because initially when I met Dane, like I didn't even realize what he was creating. Like, I just was like, oh, this is like my business partner and friend's brother, and he's doing these classes, right? And I will tell you that, like, to look so cute, not bright, but when I look at that now, I'm like, holy moly, like what actually, like what a gift that I had these incredible people in my life that were willing to see the greatness of me, because they had done the same thing, right? Like they had the sense of wrongness. They kept using the tools. They like saw the beauty of them. They saw that their willingness to show up actually invited other people to greater. And I was one of those people that, like, when I showed up, I did not have a sense of my greatness. I will tell you that much. And it's funny because like Dane, my very first class with Dane was an intro, and he called me up and worked on me. I had no idea what Access Consciousness was. I had like what else is possible wasn't even in my reality. I had no idea. But something changed. And the more I used the tools, the more things changed, and the more my life got greater. And the more I look at this and the more I play with this, like I have way more fun, which creates way more money because money follows joy. My relationships have gotten greater. And so that's the thing I would look at is like, if you're watching this now or in the future, like, what if you're not as wrong as you think you are?
Yes.
In fact, it's funny because I've heard Dane and Gary said it too, or Simone Millasis have said it as well. Like I've yet to meet someone that is as fucked up as they think they are.
Yes. I love this. Yeah,
it's so good, but it's also so true. And it's like, we're so entrained to this thing of, like we're wrong, we're messed up. We make bad choices, whatever that is. And it's like, what if that's all a lie?
What if it's all a lie?
What if everything you've ever been told about you is a lie? And what if you get to create your reality? And what if it starts with you knowing the value of you? And it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I'll tell you that much. Yes. I'm a great example of that, even in 6 or 7 years. Like, and also even in the like teeny amount that I've chosen in the last 6 or 7 years, my life is exponentialized so much. And it like makes me so excited to look at what else is possible. Like, where are we going to be 6 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now?
Yeah. And before I did my first foundation class, the facilitator changed the date, and then I said, are you crazy? There's people that have got to work. You can't change the date for during the week. And then she said, the only question she asked me was, how will your life be in 5 years? And I did only one bars class. In 5 years, if you come to exactly this foundation, and how will your life be if you don't come? And it was like, wow, there's something light and beauty, big, shiny. And if not, it was like, And then, if I wouldn't have gone to this foundation, I wouldn't have known what really is possible. Yep. And the week after, I went to my first COB where Dane was in Venice. Mm-hmm. And this is like what you said, only one of this foundation, only one man didn't come with us. And then we sat in Venice and I said, isn't this wonderful? We are here, we are live with Dane. And they looked at me and said, Margaret, we are here because of you. And I said, huh? We are here because of Dane? No, we said we do a pop in Vienna. And I said, what is a pop? What the fuck? And they said, this is a party of possibilities where you can sit in your living room and watch TV and see Dane also. And I said, no, this is not a possibility if we drive 4 hours. And they said, this is why we are here, because of you.
That's awesome. But that's the thing. See, okay, so that's the perfect example of like not divorcing you. So you were like, listen, I have this choice that actually could like it. That's a great choice. A pop is awesome.
Of course,
they create space for so many people.
But I haven't seen Dane before, and neither of us.
And you had a different demand, and you were like, you don't know, that doesn't work for me. And if you guys, and you didn't make them wrong for choosing the pop. If they wanted to choose the pop, they could, but you were like, here's what I'm doing. And then look what happened. They all were like,
5 people came with me.
She's choosing that? Like, okay, maybe I could choose that. And so you had your 5 friends come on over, and y'all went to Venice and had a party with Dane. So that's the thing, a live party. So I think that's like such a perfect example of where these places where we're like, oh, like, well, I don't want to push people out of their comfort zone, or I don't want to, you know, like, I don't know, I don't want to leave people behind, or like whatever it is. There's a million reasons that we often divorce us in relationships, but what if today was the day that you gave that up?
Yeah. And my partner these days, he said, what? You are away again the next weekend? I said, yes, I have to. It's just, I have to go.
Yeah. And that's, you know, and it's so funny too, because I think like when you look at a lot of like partners and whether they're doing access or not, it's that thing where like, if you're happy and you're joyful and your life is creating greater, that creating greater doesn't mean that people are choosing the same thing that you're choosing. It just means you're choosing what you're choosing, and they see that and they're like, oh, like, look at her go. Like, she's choosing something that works for her. What works for me? Yeah, what I want to choose.
What works for me?
It puts people in question. That's the invitation to greatness, is that it actually invites people to look at what works for them and what is it that they desire to create.
And even this COP, because I didn't know in my first foundation that there even is COP, SOP, ESP. Same. And then at this COP, Dane said, and next, in 2 weeks, we see each other in Copenhagen for SOP. And I said, what the fuck? We go. And still 3 out of these 5 people we went to the second SOP that Dane did 2013.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And it's funny because it was the same for me. Like it's just that's the thing. Like, I mean, we can tell stories forever because we all have them. And it's like, where can you choose for you today? Like, where can you do what works for you? And what if like even just like teeny tiny baby steps of not divorcing you and acknowledging the value of you actually gets you to creating the life that you truly desire. And that's what I'm so excited to look at with this series, Divorceless Relationships. It is a book that was written by Gary Douglas, who's the founder of Access Consciousness. And I love it. You're so good with your copy of Divorceless Relationships. So we are doing a 3-part series. It's translated into obviously German. Margaret is being my connector to the world. And we also have it in Spanish and obviously English. So if you'd like to come play with us, you're welcome to. You can go to paulaperalta.com and
I will put the link underneath.
Amazing. You're wonderful. So, and also, even if you never choose it, like listen to this live, whether you're watching it now or in the future, and ask yourself that question, like, what can I choose for me today? What would be fun for me? Not from resistance, not from separation, but from an awareness of the possibilities that it's creating.
Yeah. What will it create?
Yes. What will your life be like in 5 years?
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, I adore you. I'm so excited for this series. I can't wait. We start May 5th. And it is actually a Europe friendly time. So
yeah, it's a good time for Germans.
The Germans. I love it. I feel like I want to learn all the languages.
Yeah, I would like to learn.
Cool. All right. Well, I adore you. Thank you so much for this conversation, and we'll see you next week.
Yes. Thank you, Paula. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.